Fat jokes. I hadn't thought of that. Christie can't run. He has skeletons in his closet of cows.
Fat jokes? I thought those were done in high school. Don't we gain some certain level of maturity? You don't have to deal with that anymore? Well, of course we do. In our real life, there's always gonna be people trying to talk down to us to make them look better and make us look bad. And don't give me that, oh, I'm gonna take the high road and just not respond. Well, you can do that, but you're gonna look like a dope and their status is gonna rise, yours is gonna go down. You gotta know how to handle this. And in this video, we're gonna break down Bill Maher and Christie. And Christie, he's overweight, so he's an easy target to be made fun of for being overweight, and Bill Maher just does just that. So we're gonna look at the strategies that both sides use to try to position themselves as higher status than the other one, because these guys are on completely opposite sides of the theater politically, and they both wanna look like they're right and they're more confident in their position. And before we jump in this video, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm gonna give away a free paid product of mine called the Social Invincibility product, and this will help you get your social skills and your social confidence up to where you want it to be so you feel really confident when you're out with other people. You don't have to tag your grandma and have her tag 5 of her friends. You just have to follow my Instagram page. In a couple of weeks, I'm gonna draw someone out and I'll announce it on Instagram. So let's look at this breakdown and this interaction and see what actually happens so you can learn the kind of strategies that they're both using.
Governor Christie's over here. Governor.
Bill,
How you doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for being here.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it because I'm sure you know in the past I may have done 1 or maybe 2 jokes.
Yeah. But you're in second place, still behind Letterman on the fat jokes, so you'll be fine.
Fat jokes. I hadn't thought of that. Can I tell you the best one?
Sure, yeah.
Christie can't run. He has skeletons in his closet of cows.
All right, let's take a closer look at what's really going on here.
Thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
I really appreciate it because I'm sure you know in the past I may have done 1 or maybe 2 jokes.
So you notice how Bill Maher and most of these talk show hosts, they really put some effort into establishing the frame at the beginning of the interaction. Like before they get into any serious business, that's kind of joking around, but listen to what he says. It's not completely joking around, right? He's trying to poke fun at him to establish, listen, I'm the higher status here. I'm leading this. This is my home court advantage. Because if he's successful in doing that, then the rest of the interview, the person he's interviewing will assume a supplicative role. So everything he says will have more authority and the guy will kind of look up to him a little bit and suck up to him. And so that's kind of the goal of this. So let's listen to exactly what he says.
Yeah. But you're in second place, still behind Letterman on the fat jokes, so you'll be fine.
All right, so what strategy did Christie use right there? He actually used one strategy 2 times in one sentence. So the first strategy, when someone's gonna make fun of you or they're making fun of you, is to exaggerate it. Because if you exaggerate it, it makes the other person look dumb if they continue on that joke. So for instance, let's say that I'm reading something in front of a group and I pronounce it wrong. And someone says, Barron, that's not how you pronounce it. It's like this. How could I exaggerate that? Well, I look at him and I say, yeah, it'd be nice if I could read, wouldn't it? So you're kind of making fun of yourself, but you say it in a tonality that's very confident. So what he's doing is he says, not only Letterman has made fun of me more, so he's exaggerating. He hasn't even made fun of me. Letterman made fun of me more. He knows he's going to be talking about fat jokes, right? That's where that's the easy jokes on this guy because he's overweight. So Bill Maher didn't even say anything about fat jokes, but he goes, Letterman's got you beat. He told more fat jokes. So he's getting out in front of it in 2 different ways in one sentence, because then if Bill Maher hangs on it too much, he's going to look like a fool.
Fat jokes. I hadn't thought of that. Can I tell you the best one?
Sure, yeah.
Christie can't run. He has skeletons in his closet of cows.
Okay, so not only does he start out by saying he's told a bunch of fat jokes about him, now he makes him sit there and listen to a fat joke. So if he's not trying to establish the frame in the beginning of this interview, I don't know what is.
That's a pretty good one.
Okay, listen to this laugh. Look at his face too. He's clearly not offended, right? He's not mad. He thinks it's somewhat funny. He's going along with it. It doesn't look like he's getting worked up about it, right? He's fielded a few fat jokes in his day, and that's really about all you can do at that point, because you don't respond because then you look defensive. Just a little chuckle. I think that's an appropriate thing to do. But then he has to do something to diffuse it. You can't just sit there and take that. So let's see what he does.
That's a pretty good one.
Well,
okay.
and I think Letterman's best one was he
Okay,
said,
so what does he do? Once again, he exaggerates it. Not only does he not run from it, like that's enough fat jokes, like let's talk about business. He's like, well, Letterman had a good one too, and he tells it himself. So that's another example of like my example. It'd be nice if I could even read, oh, you think that's a good fat joke? Listen to this fat joke, just to show he doesn't care. Because as we always talk about, if you're new to this channel, maybe you haven't heard this before, but the one thing you don't want to do when someone's trying to make you look bad is have an emotional reaction. So how do people show an emotional reaction? They get worked up. You can see it in the muscles around their neck, their vocal tonality. They try to change the subject. They get defensive. Look at this guy. He's going to tell another fat joke.
on Super Bowl weekend, and when he came back for Super Bowl, he said, this weekend, he said 2 million pounds of chicken wings were eaten, and that was just at Governor Christie's house.
Yeah, ours is better. Anyway,
So maybe that's why he's off the air now.
Well,
Who knows?
Okay, that last thing, there's a little finesse to that. So why did he say maybe that's why he's off the air? It distanced himself from the joke. So basically, he told the joke. Bill Maher said it's not that funny. His joke is better. And by him saying maybe that's why he's off the air, it reiterates that that's Letterman's joke, not his joke, right? It was just a joke that he was saying. So now, as opposed to being like, oh, that joke was dumb, you're dumb, it's like, oh, that wasn't even my joke. I was just saying another joke. It's kind of a subtle nuance, but it's kind of a nice way to distance himself so that attachment of telling a bad joke doesn't land on him. It's actually pointed at Letterman.
So maybe that's why he's off the air now. Who knows?
So why?
Let me ask you, how would you handle that? What if you were sitting down at Bill Maher and you were overweight, or what's something that you're a little bit self-conscious about, and Bill Maher sits down and immediately starts telling jokes about that? Why don't you take the quiz? Click right up here in the top right corner. I've got a quiz where I'm actually going to make fun of you, and we'll see how you do. We'll see how your trash talk prowess really is. And if you're on Instagram, go to Charisma Matrix. You can follow me there. I'm putting a lot of content out there now that I'm not putting on my YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed, I suggest you do that. And if you haven't seen Bill Maher sit down with this guy named Ben Shapiro, he's a young kind of political pundit. He actually has a big show called The Daily Wire. These guys really look at things in opposite directions, and they sit down, and the verbal sparring is really, really, really top tier. I think you're going to learn something. If you haven't seen this breakdown, you can click right here, and I'll walk you through it right now.
Really?
I needed 600 officers to protect me at Berkeley. Yes, it's an elephant in an elephant.